Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Connecticut Valley School of Music podcast. With us in the studio for our second edition is Mr. Seth Renner, who is the proprietor of Seth Renner's Freelance Computer Repair. Hi, Seth. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Dave?
No, we're doing great. We're doing great. So tell us, how did you get into computer repair?
Well, I started using computers when I was like, I don't know. It's been as long as I've had a conscious mind. As soon as I was able to sit down in a chair and have a mouse in my hand.
There we go.
I was always fascinated with how things worked. And so I kind of put those two together. Like, I like computers. I like to learn how things work. How do computers work, you know?
Okay.
Doesn't really get much simpler than that.
Well,
so I looked...
Maybe to you, but to most people, it's like...
Well, origin-wise, I'm not talking like how computers work, you know?
Right.
Like how I came to the conclusion that I like...
Yeah.
Know. But the reason I like... fixing things is completely unknown to me.
Okay.
But
you're good at it.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you can figure it out, you know. And the thing is, you've also done repairs on keyboards, on amplifiers, so you know, some of the hardest repair that you had to do. What do you think? I know you were talking to me previously on a keyboard that you had to fix a couple notes on.
Yes, there was. It's an 88 key Korg keyboard from I think the late 90s. And I believe it was used in gigs like a lot.
Yeah.
So under the keys there's the rubber things, you know, like with your TV remote you got like it's like that, but it's got two of them for velocity sensitivity.
Okay.
So there's 4 contacts, and they're really worn out.
Okay.
They're really worn out.
Yeah.
Because it was used so much, but it was also liquid damaged. So there were traces on the board that were corroded, and so you can't solder to carbon contacts. You can't do that. So what I decided to do was I took metal foil tape.
Okay.
And I cut little squares of it.
Okay.
And I put 4 of them.
Okay.
And I soldered them, and I put 4 of them, and I soldered them. It's going to take hours and hours and days. Okay. But it'll save me $100.
Well, you know, whatever works, you know, and tinfoil is cheap. Sure. It's just your time, right?
Yes.
You know,
right.
That's the thing. So
it's I always try my best to save money so I don't have to buy things that are expensive, because I look at certain things and I'm like, why is that so expensive?
Yeah, really.
And then I'm like, I can just do that myself. You know? Like instead of getting a stereo 1/4-inch jack to 2 mono 1/8-inch jacks, I just take an 1/8-inch mono cable. Yeah. And a stereo guitar cable, and I just splice them together, and I save $35.
There we go.
You know, like there's no reason to really, you know, unless I'm selling it to somebody, I don't need it to be
pretty.
Great. Right, exactly.
Yeah. They had to go from there. So now on the computer side, I mean, obviously in this day and age, cyber is huge, you know, as far as being able to do so. What are some of the issues that you run in, you know, especially if computers get a virus? What's the typical protocol going through and reformatting, cleaning it, and how do you do that?
It depends on the severity of the virus, definitely. If it's really, really bad, then definitely I would urge whoever it is to back up very important things, and back up as little as is useful and important.
Yeah.
And just put that somewhere safe offline,
Yeah.
not on the cloud, like a USB drive or something.
Yeah, yeah,
And then reformat the computer,
yeah.
start fresh, restore your files.
And there you go. You're back and running.
Right.
Back and running.
Log into all your accounts and all that.
Yes. Now, well, the thing is, everything today is, I mean, when I was working for the town, we have everything was, you bought a program, it was in a box.
Right.
Now everything is subscription based. Everything is in the cloud. And
That bothers me a lot.
yeah, it bothers me too.
Like I understand paying for major versions, like new versions of software.
Yeah.
But if I have like AutoCAD from like 1998,
Yeah.
and that works well for me,
Hey, for sure.
like I don't need to upgrade. I don't need to pay for a new version because it works well for me and I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
That's how my neighbor operates. Like he uses an old version. He doesn't bother with the new one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it doesn't really make any difference. Okay, that first thing that comes up, this version of software is no longer supported. You're no longer going to get updates, and who gives a crap?
Yeah, exactly. Who gives a crap?
It works. It works, and go from there. And the same thing with we have. We use like for a lot of we use DaVinci here as far as doing a lot of the post processing. We use Final Cut and so forth. In Final Cut, I still have the box version where you can do, and a lot of times you get to the situation where that's all you need. Whatever it works, it works.
Especially if it works offline, because then it doesn't nag you about
doing upgrades and being supported or not supported.
Something that really annoys me is when something wasn't paid before but becomes a paid feature.
Sure.
Or wasn't subscription before but is now.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, if I'm using a single version of something, I shouldn't have to pay again for it. I paid for that version already.
Well, and typically you're looking at Microsoft products. Where does Bill Gates want you to go today? That was the thing. And a lot of the Office products, okay, where depending on what version you use, and the new version you have all the updates and all that, and a lot of times the old version works fine.
Yeah, I use Office 07 a lot of the time.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't really bothered with the new version. 365 is the new subscription one.
Yeah, yeah.
So the newest I'll use is Office 2021 because that's the latest. Pay once, never again.
Yeah. Okay.
The only thing you're really paying for is better spell check and additional features like you're able to turn a slideshow into a video, but you can just screen capture that anyway.
Yeah. You get to a point where, especially getting a lot of the shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts that are built into the program. If you know the shortcuts, you get around anyway. To go from there. So I know you built us a computer here at the store, and it did a great job, and it's very powerful. Okay, and it handles the DaVinci, and it, especially when you get to a situation when you're post processing, a lot of times the rendering takes time. Mm-hmm. Man,
I'm sure it's snappy on that thing.
Oh my God! We render in a fraction of the time that we used to. Yeah, we used to render John Peckman's podcast, and it used to take an hour to an hour and a half to render. Mm-hmm. Now it's like 10 minutes. It's just like zing, 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 and you're up and running. So which is cool.
I tried to choose a processor with good single core performance and a good GPU as well, because I know you were going to do rendering with it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those repetitive video calculations are done with a video card.
Sure.
Whether or not it's being actively, rendered or not.
Yeah.
But the single core performance is important, especially for older programs.
Yeah.
Like I, for a few years, used something called Source Filmmaker, which is a 3D animation software based on a game engine. Yeah. And it's old. It's from 2004. That's when the engine was built.
Correct.
It was based on in a roundabout way, based on the Quake engine, which was, that was not long after Doom, which is insane. But what I'm getting at is it's old, so it only utilizes one CPU core. CPUs today will have up to 16, 32 cores.
Yeah.
So good single core performance is crucial so that that single core it's utilizing is still fast enough to
get the job done.
Right. But that's not to say that multi-core performance is bad. If it's great single core performance and there's like 6, 12 cores, then that's awesome. You got yourself a beefy freaking thing.
Sure. Well, that's the thing, and especially when you get the programs out there. There are a lot of how do we say, open source programs.
Yep.
So tell us how the open source programs work.
So open source is one of the best things that's ever happened to computing. It essentially means that the source code to that program is openly available to anyone who wants to view it or modify it, compile it themselves, anything like that within the limits of the license it's given.
Okay, so it's not proprietary to a certain extent. Okay.
There's certain programs that used to be fully open source, like Audacity. Was bought out by, I think, what company was it? But they added proprietary elements and telemetry to it, and it kind of ruined the whole thing for everybody.
But if you had the original version of Audacity, that'd still work, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a lot of new features that are really nice, which is why I reluctantly use the new versions. But what's also great about open source programs is that people can fork their own version, which is to create their own derivative of that program.
Okay.
And there are people working to remove the telemetry and the proprietary elements and replace it with open source versions.
Yeah.
Like I'm just making it up here, the audio engine that actually spits out the sound to your sound card.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's been made proprietary, but
well, what's GarageBand?
GarageBand is a program that comes with macOS, or maybe not comes with it, but it's easily installable from the app market on macOS, and I think iPads as well.
Now, does that come on a PC version too?
No, unfortunately, no. I've looked and looked and looked and looked. There's no real official way to do it, unfortunately.
Okay.
Apple does not like it when you try and run a macOS virtual machine. They want you to buy their hardware for their operating system.
Yeah.
You can always put another OS on a Mac, but you won't be able to run GarageBand on it if you do that.
Well, we used to have a gentleman that used to do some programming for us for the towns on phones, and he used to come in with his not iPad, but MacBook, and he used to spin up a Windows version on the iPad or on to run a PC version of a program. You could run. I didn't know you could do that, but he did it.
I mean, there are roundabout ways to do it. I've never figured it out how to do that, but I'm sure there's ways. There's always ways to do things like that.
So, is there a version of GarageBand that's available for PC, or what?
Not officially, no. It's going to take a lot of work to run compatibility layers, virtual machines, whatnot.
Okay.
And to install GarageBand on something like that, I actually finally figured out how to get an old version of macOS on an old MacBook without already having macOS. That took a lot of annoyance already in itself, but to get GarageBand on that thing, because the App Store doesn't work because it's so old.
Right.
I had to change the date to sometime in the distant past.
Yeah.
Like 2011,
Yeah.
just for the certificate to match.
Okay.
And then say, okay, we can install this finally.
Okay.
It was a huge pain in the ass.
Wow.
That's why I don't usually mess with Mac stuff. It's
So what's the latest version of Mac OS? I mean, there was Snow Leopard. There was what's the latest one now?
I honestly have no idea.
Okay.
I don't really keep up with that.
Okay. Yeah, because as the newest version, I mean, we bought the last one Mac we bought for the town. I think it was like an M5 or something, which had 32 cores, and it was a great fast machine, and it was only a little brick. My God, but it.
Yeah, they've been getting real good at stuffing huge computing power into a little box.
Yes, and go from there. So, but anyway, so if people wanted to get in touch, obviously you make house calls. So, if folks wanted to get in touch with you to come out and solve their computer issues, how would they could do about that? I know we have your information on our website with your number, but you want to tell us your number, or if you want to do that, or how you can go on our website and figure out. You can text you there as far as that goes. But you would go out and make house calls to straighten out people.
Yep. I can be reached at text only, by the way, because I don't answer calls that I don't recognize.
Okay.
Text me first, 860-575-9160. That's 860-575-9160.
So if you want your computer repaired, or if you need some tutelage on any PC matters, and helping out, Seth can fix you right up. Text it and go from there. So what else are you doing?
I'm doing many different projects all at once, because
Okay.
that's just kind of the guy I am. Game development, music, which actually ties into that.
Yeah, we're going to put a couple links to on the podcast to some of the music that you've written and so forth, because you also play keyboard.
Yes.
Yes.
I also am setting up a server in my basement.
Okay.
That's a backup to my other file server that's upstairs. I'm trying to save up money to buy all SSDs for the downstairs one, just for archival purposes.
Yeah.
Nice and fast, whatnot. I don't even remember what other things I'm working on, but it'll come to me. When I gain motivation to work on them again, I'm just like, oh yeah, I really feel like, doing this right now. So
Oh, for sure.
just kind of do what I feel like doing at any given moment.
Well, that's good. That's good. It allows you to expound on your creativity.
Right.
And certainly you think out of the box. So that's, a huge, and a lot of people can't do that. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So I know you, we just got our new LED sign that came in that I bought at NAM that you programmed for us, that we're going to have you work on a little bit more and work on that and so forth. So that's going to be huge. Keep an eye out when that goes up on the front of our building, so you can see that Seth programmed it. They go from there. So anyway, a lot of the conductivity for internet now. And obviously the Xfinity is probably the larger one now. Is that?
I'm seeing a lot of people using Frontier now. Everyone's moving to fiber. Like, fiber is the new big thing.
Well,
back when home networks were all, and work networks, any real given network was coaxial through and through the whole way.
yeah.
When Ethernet
Yep.
came out, everyone was like, wow, this is great. This is much faster. This is much better.
Okay.
We don't have to deal with the weird BNC connectors that do.
Oh, yes. Yeah, for
They're-
sure. Well, you straightened out my fiber at home. All of a sudden, I had Frontier people coming. It took two technicians to figure out that the fiber connection box to the Wi-Fi router lost its certificate, so they had to put a new one in. But it took 2.5 hours with two guys figuring out, oh, why, and calling, back to the office. Can you restart this? Can you reset that? Okay, once he put the new router in, yeah, okay, it works. So we just had to reconfigure the rest of the house to it. So whatever, but that was appreciated.
It's really strange, like how much they have to do with that, because it has to verify that you're paying for it.
Yeah.
And it has to talk back and forth. It's like a cable box, but it's even worse.
Yes. Yeah.
Like how annoying it is.
No, for sure.
But everyone's moving away from copper based networking, and it's honestly pretty great, because you're getting pretty close to light speed to like really stinking close to light speed.
Yeah. It's
literally light, but it's going through an imperfect fiberglass.
Well, I mean, it is light, it's
apparatus. Exactly.
It's a light beam, they go from there, and it's amazing, how that works, but and you can split it in any different ways. I don't know. Are you familiar with Dante at all?
Nope.
Okay. That's it's a video program, but TriVision is a lot of what the TV stations are using, but they use Dante, and that is communicate. It does music, but you can split different signals and send different signals to Facebook, to Twitch, to whatever, and
right.
It's pretty good. Before, you used to have a Cat5 cable to go to each whatever, and now it's you just tell it where to go, and it goes there. Go from there. So, alrighty. Hey, Seth, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it, and we're gonna play some music now, and we're gonna put some music in the comments below and on the podcast. But this is our second version of our Connecticut Valley School of Music podcast. So if you like it, click subscribe and like and hit that button. And that concludes this episode with Mr. Seth Renner, who is a freelance computer repair technician. So thanks again for coming, Seth. Unbeknownst to Seth has done quite a bit of voice acting. Well, let's start off with that one.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the annual, holy crap, Donald Trump.
Hello, Peter. Welcome to Fortnite.
Nice.
Hey, who wants to play Drink the Beer? Right here. All right, what do I get? Another beer.